Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I just got a card from my supervisor, my old supervisor who has left. Today was my first day at work at my old workplace, well, my regular workplace, where my supervisor had gone. Her whole room was sanitized, and it's sad not seeing her things on the walls. And yeah, it made me thoughtful. I had put a bag inside her locker with a poem, which I will. I made a translation for, and I will read the translation. And so she did the same to me. Where when I came this morning to work, I found a little bag, and this little bag is so cute. It has a little Christmas tree on it, and there's some Lindt chocolates, and a little box with a little necklace, which, yeah, not worth much, this little thingy, but it was a nice thought. And a little, she knows that I like chocolate, so she always buys me these chocolate things. This is a kind of like a Kinder Surprise. I haven't had one of these since I was a kid, so I'm happy. And then, I also had some Kinder chocolates from my ESFP colleague. She had left that on my desk. But then I got this card, which has little penguins on it. And I'm going to try to translate it on the spot because it really touched me. Here's the card. She always makes these weird style of smileys. So she said, "God jul, Ingrid." She wrote, "Ingrid, thank you that I could follow you a bit on the way towards the next step in life. It is difficult to leave you, but now it feels like it was the right time, because I know that you will manage after all. You are strong, wise, and I don't know how you say it, a duktig människa, a good person, I guess. One of the finest people that I have met. I have learned so much from you, how you can yourself be better to learn and to meet others. But you must know that it isn't that easy to let go of me. I am always there for you. I come if you call me. Katarzyna." So, yeah, it's lovely. She's been there through so much with me, like even closer than I've talked to my best friend about certain things, closer than what I've told my parents about certain things. She has seen how my work has been, and we've had an hour a week of discussion for several years. That makes a lot of hours of discussions, And I'm not going to assume anything, but I do think that she has been a supervisor for many people, but I think that she has a special place in her heart for me. I like to think that, at least, because I think that we were very compatible as people, And she has been supervisor for other people that she didn't click as well with. And of course, she's been as good a supervisor for anybody, but especially for me, I think that it was really useful to have somebody that was stable and like a classic doctor, There are many different ways of being a doctor. Some doctors are more into like knowing the top-notch research. Some are more like traditional. There are all sorts of different kinds of people that become doctors. But I think that her style really fit me, and she's the kind of doctor that I wish to become. Now, obviously I'm in another generation of doctors, so things are going to be different for me as than for her. My working situation won't look the same, and the world won't look the same, and the sorts of treatments that we have are definitely not the same. So I think that regardless of that aspect, which, you know, whatever we do, things change. I think that there's a sort of spirit in her that I want to emulate, you know. So interestingly enough, I think that my card and her card, I kind of linked in its ideas. So I wrote this in Swedish, which I have translated here in English. And I wrote En handledare is the name, which translates to a supervisor, but you could also say mentor. It's, you know, the word handledare means literally somebody that holds you by the hand. And so now I have to let go of that, you know. So I wrote this. Thanks to the oak in the forest, I have grown in the safety of your strong branches. But one day the bird must leave the nest and discover that it has the strength inside to fly on its own. Thank you to the lighthouse on the shore. You have given me light when the boat got lost in the dark storm. But you have given me my own compass to discover that I have the courage to sail on my own. I wrote thank you to the best supervisor, Ingrid. It's not the last I will hear from her. I'm leaving her alone right now for, the Christmas time. But I think that I will contact her again once I've been to the neuro rehab place. And also once I'll have a leadership course at the end of January. So I do want to keep her updated on that. Because kind of like for that course, I actually need my coworkers to fill in a personality test about me, which is a really weird situation. But I've made a video about this 2 years ago about IDI test, which I really don't like. But the IDI test is not a personality test like the MBTI is, where it's self-reported. The whole thing about IDI is what do other people think about you, which is like terrible. But so I sent it to her, but I don't know if she'll have gotten it by now, because I think that she'll change work email address when she changes work. But I've sent it to my new supervisor, and we had a talk with my new supervisor today about finding a time to discuss about different things, because I haven't had a supervising hour since October, and I'm supposed to be having supervising once a week. Now, I've had a supervising hour together with a geriatrics doctor who is in charge of me during my geriatrics placement. But sometimes I go to the regular healthcare GP center and I still have patients, even though it's very seldom I'm there. And things start to accumulate and I don't really know what to do. So we're going to try to figure out maybe a time in February where we can sit down and discuss, because it would be good. And I must say that my new supervisor is really, really good at what he does, and I was at the emergencies today and he really helped me out with, he's just one of those kinds of people. I think that there his autism really shines. He really wants to info dump on all of these things to you, He really is interested in letting you know about all the facts on the certain subject. And also when he is at the emergencies, he will memorize all the patients on the list somehow. Like he will memorize the name and the date and like with time and what they have and what to do. Like I don't even know what to do, you know. But I let him have his control moment. I think that he needs that kind of control of knowing everything that's going to happen. Which I mean I do too, but to a lesser degree. I think that that is more of his thing. Also, I worked last Saturday at the what could we call it? Like it's at the Netter GP clinic. It's like the GP clinic that's open when it's you know, Christmas days and that kind of thing, when it's the weekend. So I went to that weekend emergencies place, and everything works a little bit differently there. I found that it was quite chaotic, but he wanted to go through all of the patients that I was going to be seeing after he had left. I was like, okay, thank you. So he wanted to like ask me what I thought, and then he said what he thought. And yeah, I think I like the style of this new supervisor. It's different. He's a little bit more into like knowing all the like latest facts on all these different things, and a little bit more oriented towards like all the kinds of things that these things could be, rather than what is most common. But I think that he's a very wise person as well. So it's going to be good. It's just nobody will ever be able to replace my old supervisor, who has been there for me emotionally through all of things, and who has been a very stable presence. But my new supervisor is going to teach me a lot, I think, as well. And it's going to be different and just as good. I will miss my supervisor's little gifts that she keeps giving for some reason. So yeah, I'm going to make sure to save the little chocolates in here. And I just, you know, I'm having a nostalgic time, like thinking about things that happened throughout the year. And this was quite a big thing that happened. Which really set my my whole being out of balance. But you know, I had other things to put me off balance, such as my autism diagnosis and you know, all sorts of other things happening. I think I would have planned my my residency a little bit differently had I known that this was going to happen, but I couldn't know that this was going to happen. So that's the only thing that I kind of regret, is that, you know, maybe I could have done my placement later or earlier had I known about that she was going to leave now, because it feels like kind of a gap there where I was never at the workplace, and that's when I needed her the most. I think was after my autism diagnosis. Was like, how do I deal with my work as an autistic person? I don't know. And I thought that maybe I could like have some help with that at my workplace, but now I'll have to talk to her outside of work. I don't know how that will work. It will be different, I guess, what we talk about. And yeah, things go on, things move on. I think that all in all, I'm happy about how things are going, and I have I've slept really badly last night because there was a storm outside. So everything was a little bit hectic for me. But tomorrow is New Year's Eve. I'm going to be spending it with actually an old friend of my mom's who my mom learned Swedish together with this woman, and this woman was one of the only people who visited my mom when my mom was at the hospital with me as a newborn baby. This woman has knitted a little, she knitted a little sweater for me when I was a newborn, and I visited them when I was a child several times at their house, but now they happen to be coming to my town to spend New Year's. So my mom and her reconnected, and I reconnected with them. So it'll be different because it's the first time I'm meeting them as an adult. I find that I've had quite an interesting holiday, you know, meeting with my best friend's family, my colleague's family, this other person, you know. There are people with all sorts of sometimes very small connections, but still it's a connection, you know. There are people all around that influence us in different ways, and you'll never know like how close you'll get to a certain person. Like when I first started my work at my workplace in 2019, I didn't know that my supervisor would become such an important part of my life. That this person would be there for me when I became a diplomed or like a registered doctor, and that I would start my specialist with like my specialist training with her as my supervisor, and all the things that we would talk about, and all of the trials I would go through in my mental health, and that she would be there with me through them. Like, think of 2019 me not knowing at all about how doctor work works, and how my mental health could get better, and the new friends that I would get. You know, a lot of things have happened since 2019. I think that, you know, because COVID has made everything a blur, and because I actually got out in the workforce 2019, it just feels like no time has passed, years have passed. It's very strange, you know, because soon after that happened, then COVID came, everything got blurred. You know, 2020 and 2021 were like blurry years, and I was having a terrible time at my residency and all that. But throughout all that time, you know, 2019 is now 5 years ago. 5 years, you know. Like, is it short? Is it long? I don't know anymore. And it's interesting to know that for me, I only started my real adult journey once I left medical school. I mean, you know, like I started medical school, I was 18, and I don't feel like I was an adult then. But I think that once I got out of medical school, when I was done with medical school, that's when I think I actually became a real adult who's doing actually like growth and all that. I think I was a late bloomer. And to have somebody who has seen the whole journey, you know, my best friend has seen the whole journey. My colleague that I spent another Christmas with, and my the nursing assistant that I spent Christmas with also has been there for me throughout the whole journey, and my supervisor throughout that whole journey of those 5 years. I am forever grateful, and it just warms my heart that I still will have a connection like that. And I have had other mentors before, but it's not the same, you know. And there are certain people that you really would consider a friend, you know. And it's another kind of love, you know, the mentor kind of love. I don't know. There's probably a Greek word for that. You know, there's like storge and agape and all those kinds of love. One of them is, you know, I guess that it's like in Japanese sensei, you know, that kind of love, but in a not weird way, you know. And I hope to still have, you know, lots of good moments with her. And I haven't seen her for several months now. I hope to see her soon again. But life goes on, and there will be other people. And I think I've gotten much better at letting people just pass through my life and, you know, be important to me. Their importance isn't diminished from the fact that they have to go, you know. Maybe it makes these connections all the more important because they are ephemeral, because they are only meant for a certain time, you know. But I am still very grateful to be able to not completely cut off contacts, you know. Things change all the time, and I think that I was much more upset by these kinds of things, you know, 5 years ago. I think that I would have, you know, I was so stuck to like certain people, and my mental health wasn't good, you know. Now I think that I can have my crisis, and then I can get over things, and I can have the strength to keep on going. Even though things are tough, there will be a way through. And I think that my supervisor was worried about me for during a certain time period when I was in my burnout, and then she saw me get through that, you know, and I saw myself get through that, and I'm like, wow, here I am now, you know, years later. So I think that it was a good way for me to end this year thinking about, you know, the people that I've met, the things that have happened these past 5 years, because next year will be 2025, and that means that I will have gone 5 years since you know, I actually became an adult for real, I guess, at the ripe old age of whatever that was, 23. Yeah. So yeah, I wonder what you guys think. I have been wondering, like, how should my channel change next year, or what should I do? And I'm just thinking, you know, I might just be a little bit more chill about answering comments that I don't feel like answering. I'll just leave the comment section do what it does, and I will reply if I feel like replying, and if I can't reply. Nothing against you guys, I love you guys, but I need to find a system that doesn't like take all of my energy. Because there was a certain point where I was considering like turning off comments for my videos, and then I realized, well, no, actually I don't want that, but I don't want to be obsessed by what comments I'm getting, how many likes I'm getting on the videos, and how much engagement I'm getting, because that's the game that I will never be able to win, and that is not useful in any way. So I'm going to just let this channel do its thing organically the way that it always has, and that's the only way for me to keep on doing my channel like I've been doing. So don't feel sad if I don't reply to your comment. I will like the comment instead, and that means that I care and I appreciate your comments, but I'd rather you know, left my answer unsaid, I guess, because otherwise it has been a stress on me. Sometimes the comments, I don't know how to respond to them, and it's not because the comments are bad, it's just I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say, or I feel like whatever I say will be wrong, so I'd rather just not think about it. And just like in life, just let people come and go, and you know, having old friends, new friends, and not overthinking about things too much, or getting overly upset about things I cannot really control. You know, working towards the things that I can control. And yeah, it's amazing how much better I think when I have slept like 2 hours last night. I sometimes get into this flow, so I'm in the flow right now. I'm going to get up and like actually do something else. But yeah, if we don't see each other, then I will say Happy New Year, and we will see each other in 2025. Bye.